What's up, guys? Bruce Matson, your host of the show of Metric Scout Fantasy Football. And I figured I'd give you guys a treat, give you a couple wide receivers that I'm looking at buying in the offseason who are a little bit cheaper than get in Dynasty, who I think their value could be on the rise, or they're younger prospects in good situations or hitting free agency that we may want to kick the tires on. And not all players are buys, not all players are sells, or all players are buys and all players are sells, because really you just want to kick the tires because every league is different. So that's something you want to keep in mind when you're looking at these players. You do not have to pay up for them. You don't have to pay down for them. Just see what the other fantasy managers looking at when you send that offer to them. Can you get them at a discount, or are they not for sale? We'll find out when we send those offers. But the first wide receiver I want to talk about today is Ronald Moore, rookie wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. Right now, in Dynasty League Football's ADP for December, he's being valued as wide receiver 36, 75th player off the board, which is a very good discount for a young wide receiver. Very cheap, and you have to think soon, in the next few months, we're going to be adding the rookies to that. You got to think about Treylon Burks, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Some of those guys are going to fluctuate ahead of him, dropping his value. I think he can be had for a second-round rookie pick. That's where he was going in drafts last year, but I think you can get him at a good price in the second round. Maybe you can get him as a piece in a much bigger trade. It's really just how things go in the offseason, and it really depends on that other manager in your league, because from what I've seen from speculations on social media, Twitter, and everywhere else, some people are down on him just because he's not been that productive this year. He's had one wide receiver 1 week and one wide receiver 2 week this season. And honestly, he hasn't been consistent, and which is good. Drives the price down, allows us to get a wide receiver who's a super athlete, who can be productive, and he's only 1 year into his career. Not all wide receivers are going to hit instantly, and this is our chance to buy on a speculative asset. The second wide receiver I'm looking to buy this offseason is Michael Gallup. He's going to be hitting free agency. He's not going to be in the Cowboys anymore. And really, if you put him on a lot of other teams, he could be the wide receiver 1 or a high-end functioning wide receiver 2. He's only 25 years old, so he does have some years ahead of him. And he's a very technical player, technical route runner. Right now, he's being valued as the wide receiver 43 in ADP and falling off the board as the 92nd overall pick. That's a good value for a wide receiver with this type of talent who could be going into a better situation. We're speculating here. It could not be that great of a situation. He could be going to the Browns or something like that. But really, Michael Gallup in a new home could be enough to rejuvenate his career, at least from a production standpoint. He has been productive. He averaged 15.9 fantasy points per game in 2019, so he can get it done. 2020, Dak got hurt. 2021, he's been hurt. So it's just been an interesting last couple seasons for him, driving down the price for him, for us to be able to obtain him in fantasy football. I expect his price to go up a little bit this spring because people are going to speculate where he's going to go in the offseason. They're going to get excited about him in free agency, and that's going to raise the price tag a tiny bit until we figure out where he's going to be. The best time to get him is as soon as possible before that price tag jumps, because he does have talent. He's still a younger wide receiver, and in the right spot, in the right situation, he could pop off. In a bad situation, he's probably going to give you similar results, and he's probably not going to receive a drop in value, making him a safe asset to invest in Dynasty. My last wide receiver I'm going to try and pick up in Dynasty this offseason, and he's going off tonight against the Arizona Cardinals. He caught a deep touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford, and that's Van Jefferson. He's 25 years old. He's being valued right now as the wide receiver 56 with 122 ADP. So 122nd player off the board. I think that's going to rise, especially in the offseason when everyone starts looking back at these players and seeing his production, some of his big games, especially him producing here late in the season. We've covered him on the channel, on the film studies. He's been looking good. I think it's going to rise. I think his value is worth more than his average draft position on the trade market because people are seeing the potential. The one thing I like about him is the Rams don't have any draft picks. They can't bring in that many wide receivers to compete for a spot. They got Cooper Kupp, they got Odell Beckham, and they got him. Stafford spreads it around decently considering what he has to work with, and Jefferson has a role in the offense. And with what you're paying to get him, it's not going to affect you that much to where if he just remains the third option in the passing game, fourth option in the passing game with these spike weeks, it's still going to benefit you. It's still going to give you a decent return on the investment. And he's going to be on the Rams for a bit. He has 3 wide receiver 2 weeks so far in the year, 1 wide receiver 1 week, and this is with a late emergence in the back half of the season. So I expect him to continue to do good things going forward. Coming out of college, he was known as being a technician, getting in and out of his breaks, selling the routes, and all that stuff. That's what's allowed him to produce on the field, and he's getting downfield, getting hit on those big plays. I like Van Jefferson, especially for where he's at with the Rams. It's a damn good situation. But those are my 3 buys for right now. I have a lot more. That's why you need to hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to be pumping out content day in and day out, helping you guys out with your fantasy football teams, your dynasty teams, and everything else. But again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.